Can give. It's time for Big D Energy, live on Woodward Sports. Join four-time Stanley Cup champion and legendary badass Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neil Rule, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. as they give their takes on all things Detroit sports. The number one midday show in Detroit is on. Welcome to Big D Energy.
What is going on? Glad you could join us. It is Big D Energy.
Big D!
No Neil. No D-Mac. You got Justin. Ha-ha!
Right
You
on
got
time.
KG in the house.
Michigan
What's up,
is
buddy?
Auburn. Michigan is Auburn. Michigan is Auburn. Nah, I'm just, you know we got to honor our boy Neil, man.
Spenny in the house. What's
How
up,
you doing?
Spenny?
How you doing? How you
Good,
doing?
good. I'm Sean Belegian. Lots to get into today. We're going to talk about a lot of Lions. Isn't it great? I'm going to start here. We're that game. We are, like, you guys, you know that, right?
Yeah.
We're that game. We're that game that you're watching all the talking heads talk about, looking forward to this weekend. We're that varsity game. We're the game everybody's talking about.
And it's not just the game of the week either. They're talking about it as the game of the year. Like, this has that type of implication. Both teams fighting for the 1 seed. It really has a true nuance to this game.
I love every second of it, and you know what? We're going to talk a lot about that. There are a couple things that jump out to me. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Here's one of the beautiful things, and we were talking about fantasy football before the show began. I always laugh when I hear somebody say that this guy or that guy is a fantasy expert. Can I tell you why? All the information is available to everybody now.
Yep.
They make it so
Everybody and their
easy.
brother can look at the Buffalo Bills and say, hey, the Buffalo Bills struggle here. The Buffalo Bills excel there. The same is in fantasy as it is in football as a whole. And I'm sure you've seen some of the numbers out there. The Bills, for all the good they're doing, and they're doing a lot of good, make no mistake about that, the Bills have been brutal against backs coming out of the backfield.
Yes, sir.
And that's hi. Are you familiar with the two guys that we have? They might make your day a little miserable, but that's the beautiful thing about this. And if we're going to talk about this game, and I know we're going to get into it a lot more tomorrow, why don't we start right there? What our backs, Justin, can do to the Buffalo Bills?
They're going to be crucial. They're going to be key, and they're going to be why we ultimately win this game, in my opinion. Buffalo Bills, if you are able to take away Von Miller and his ability to get to the quarterback, the only way you can do that is by running the ball. And when you're able to do that, you saw the Rams do it. They controlled the time of possession. They put Josh Allen in hero mode where he had to make plays and he had to put up, 80 yards on the ground, 400 yards passing, 6 total touchdowns to still lose the game. He did all that, and I think that Lions have to have a similar formula to be able to win this game.
KG, what are you looking at? I'm looking at these guys as receiving threats out of the backfield. I really am. Bills have been torched this year. I think that is the path to victory.
No, absolutely. It'll be through the line of scrimmage as always. The Lions offensive line needs to control what the Bills defensive line is going to do. But like you said, Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield, deadly. Even the year that Monty is having out of the backfield, who thought we'd be saying that? His receiving numbers this year have been pretty damn good. So I can see it. Ben Johnson, he draws up the screen game like no other. So I can absolutely see that being a weapon in this game in conjunction with the run game, which I feel will work way better than it did against the Packers this time around. So,
Spenny, you know what? It's fresh in my mind. I know it's been over 2 years, but that loss on Thanksgiving Day 2 years ago was an aluminum bat to my thorax. I'm really serious when I say that, because you know what? Whether we want to admit it or not, I'll be man enough to admit it. All right. At that point in time, I was going through that same crossroad I had been at multiple times in my Detroit Lion fandom. Is this real?
yeah.
I was in the is this real mode. Lions, if you want to prove to me that this is real, you take care of business. I know things are moving in the right direction, but you take care of business on Thanksgiving Day against a team that nobody expects you to take care of business against. And when Josh Allen did, as you said, Justin, went into hero mode and ended up winning that game, that was an aluminum bat to my thorax. And I'm telling you, I'm confessing my sins, okay? My fragile little psyche that day, Spenny, was they're doing it to me again. I'm getting sucked in again. Fast forward 2 years later, the Bills are still looking for their pot of gold, and we're on our way to the end of the rainbow.
Yeah, it's awesome. And this is going to be, like you said, a get-right game for the Lions because of that, the ghosts of Thanksgiving past. And I expect them to go out there and meet the challenge. Like the Bills, they're having this miracle season because Josh Allen is Superman, because of what Josh Allen has been doing. They're not a complete team by any means.
No.
If healthy, they've got a pretty decent receiving core with Coleman, Amari Cooper, who's washed, and Shakir. They've got two good tight ends, but their defense is not what it used to be. So I expect the Lions to go out there and put up some serious points, especially 10 days rest now, third week in a row at home. Like that, they're comfortable. They've been, wrapping presents and hanging out with their families for 3 weeks now. So I expect them to be ready to go.
You just brought up something, and I got to bring this up to everybody. We always talk about running backs and the shelf life for running backs.
Yeah. And
when it goes for a running back, it goes for a running back. Can we now include some wide receivers in the National Football League?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if we're being honest, we got one ourselves. Not that long ago, Mr. Robinson was a stud.
Yeah.
I mean, he really, truly was. He was a stud. Amari Cooper just 2 years ago, correct me if I'm right, didn't he lead the league in touchdowns or something?
Yeah, something like that.
I think he
I
had
mean, just
1,400 yards.
honestly, I mean, and when the drop off happens, I don't know what it is. It's almost like with hockey players when the legs go. I'm sitting next to a hockey guy. When the legs go, I don't know what it is about wide receivers, but when wide receivers go, they go as well, man. And there are a few guys in the league right now that are just hanging around who aren't even close to being what they were just a couple of years ago. And you washed. It is. Hey, you know what? At one point in time, this guy was a number one. I don't think there can be any debate about that. He's not a number one and not even close to it now. I don't know.
No, he's not. And I think you see the same thing with guys like Odell Beckham Jr. I think he's the biggest example. After all those leg injuries, he was a very explosive player, very good route runner. And now, because he doesn't have that level of explosion, he can't get that separation that he used to get back in the days with the Giants.
Wings in Philly tonight. We'll hit that at some point in time. A lot of wing stuff, especially with Justin and I sitting here. I have a feeling we'll talk some hockey. All right, 2 coaching moves. Can I start with the one that everybody's got to giggle a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
know
please.
Come on, KG. You know I'm going to bring this up.
He's coming home.
Can you believe he just tweeted out? I just saw the tweet right before we went on the air. Rich Rod.
Country road,
Right.
take me home.
Take me home.
To the place.
Hey, I mean, his most success and their most success came with Rich Rod at the
West
helm.
Virginia.
Is it crazy? I mean, is it that crazy, really? I mean,
Mountain high.
that's one place where his offense can actually work. It ain't working up here in Ann Arbor.
No.
It's one place his offense can actually work.
Do you remember what was the game against Illinois? Was it 70-67 or some crap?
yes.
Do you remember that? Seriously,
man.
can you look that up? What was the score of that game?
Jesus,
Wasn't
I'll
it like 70-67?
Something
Spenny,
like
please
that.
tell me you remember that. Justin, I don't think you were born
I don't
yet.
think I
Your
was
mother
old enough.
might not have been born yet. But all jokes aside, there was I think it was his second year. It may have been the last year. They beat Illinois like 70-67. Like, what are we doing here?
Did it go to overtime?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
It did.
All
But,
right,
but,
at least-
but
at
it
least,
wasn't.
so-
You know what? If I'm not mistaken, it wasn't many overtimes either. I think it was somebody settled for a field goal and then somebody scored a touchdown. It was insane. But I had learned people. I'm a firm believer. I'm not kissing anybody's ass. I think this is a pretty educated sports town. I mean that. I think
absolutely.
fans here are pretty educated. Except when it comes to their team, their beloved team. I will never forget human beings with a straight look on their face telling me the 3-3-5 defense is going to work in the Big Ten. I will never, ever. Spenny, do you remember Javon Ringer?
Yep.
He could have rushed for 500 yards that day.
The lanes were wide open.
I was like sitting there going, he can't stick with this. But then he doubled down. No, this works. This works. Look at the success that we had in West Virginia.
Got all the small linemen. Yeah.
It was batshit crazy. The Bill Belichick stuff.
I like it. If I'm UNC fans, I am jumping for joy. The way that he has come in, he has demanded NFL-level resources. He has gotten the NIL collective in check, and he has truly set up a base where UNC should become one of the next perennial powerhouses in college football.
I want to get into this. We're going to get into the injury report as well for the Lions coming in the next segment. But Spenny, KG, I want to get your thoughts on this Bill Belichick thing because if anything, I'm all in, aren't you? If North Carolina's on TV, which inevitably, doesn't it seem like for 78 years now, they're the noon game on ESPN?
Yeah.
It's North Carolina and whomever on ESPN every Sunday or Saturday, as it were. I'm intrigued. I'm in. But I got a lot of questions as well. We'll get into that. Injury update for the Lions. Richard Sherman and the convincing Dan Campbell to go for two. Now, listen, to go for it on fourth down. Listen, isn't this what we talked about? Would it shock you? This is part of the reason that has made Dan Campbell such a great coach. But we got some things to tell you about. Who's going to tell me about Caesars?
I'm telling you about Caesars because I am the college football bettor in this very office. So what if I told you you could bet $1,000 and not lose? You can get that back, and you could scan this QR code, enter the code Woodward 1000, and you will have a chance to have a no sweat first bet. As you deposit $1,000, you will get that $1,000 right back with a minimum bet of just $20. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today, the official sportsbook of Woodward Sports, and use code Woodward1000.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that DMAC trusts. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsAndSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.
All right, welcome back in, Big D Energy. I'm glad you did the homework that I couldn't do while we were on the air.
Yeah, I got
KG, remind the people about that crazy game going back 14 years ago.
So Illinois falls to Michigan in a shootout 67-65. And fun fact, Michigan snapped a 3-game losing streak at that time and became bowl eligible for the first time in Rich Rod's 3 seasons at the school. What? Man,
It was 45-45 at the end
criminal.
of regulation.
Yeah.
45-45 at the end of regulation. Bo was literally shaking in his grave.
No, for real.
I mean, literally, you know that. The man was shaking in his grave.
Oh, Jesus. The 3-3-5.
All right, let me throw this out about Bill Belichick. Because Justin, young Justin in the house, I'm not going to argue with anything that you just said before we went to the break. Nothing. The man is psycho. And I say that with respect. Bill Belichick is psycho. I can't even imagine what his spreadsheets and everything looks like.
He gave him a 500-page Bible, organizational Bible. It's crazy. But
do you know what my concern is? And I think this is huge today. And this is something that I don't think my generation had to deal with as much, but is uber important today. And I'm going to ask you guys, how's he going to relate
That is
to the younger people.
That's
Justin,
my
those
issue.
are your people.
And I'm serious.
Yeah.
How is he gonna listen? Because let me give you an example. I'm going to use hockey as an example. Shocker. Mike Babcock.
Yeah.
Mike Babcock was a dick. If Mike Babcock is watching, Mike, you probably know you were, okay? You also have to include incredibly successful coach, okay? The things that worked for Mike Babcock, especially earlier in his career with a different generation, were not and did not work with later generations, okay? And a lot of times I think the older generation, yours truly included, we love to throw around that's not, you know what? Sometimes evolving is a damn good thing, okay? You treat a human being with respect.
Yeah.
You don't kick a guy when he's down. You don't have to play games with his head, okay? He's a professional athlete. Treat him with the respect that he deserves, okay? But that generation didn't have to deal with things like that. That's a good change to the sporting world. So things that Mike Babcock got away with 20 years ago, he's not going to get away with 10 years ago or 5 years ago or last year, as it were. And I get it that Bill Belichick is on the Bill Belichick is actually a wonderful guy tour, and he shows up with the Mannings, and he can be a little playful when he shows up on TV. But young Justin, all eyes are going to turn to you. How is that going to work with the 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old crowd? Because this is a guy that has always been about control. This is a guy that, he's tempered some of the stuff he said to Tom Brady, but there are going to be no Tom Bradys at Chapel Hill. That's my biggest question. How is this going to translate with younger people?
I think that we have gone through a little bit of a revolution when it comes to the coaching styles that our youth would like. For me, when I was growing up, I wanted a coach that was a little more laid back, more of a player's coach that understood who I was as a player. Now I want a coach who's hard on me, who makes me see even if I don't see it, and I think that needs to happen. So where this goes with Bill Belichick is, I think that these kids realize the great opportunity that they are given to have one of the best NFL coaches of all time be their leader, be that person who they look up to, that person who's running a program and running it like an NFL program. They know coming in, if I want to play in the NFL, I have to be able to survive this program. Because if I can't be coached by one of the greatest coaches of the National Football League, then I don't have the ability, the knowledge, the want to be an NFL player. And I think that that's what it boils down to, is because if you want to be an NFL player and you want to deal with NFL level coaching, then you need to be able to handle the fire. You need to be able to be in the kitchen while it's hot. And that's what Bill Belichick's going to do. He's going to make you rise to the level that you need to be at to be an NFL football player.
I think relating to players is so important because I guess, to use your argument, I could say the same thing about Mike Babcock. Here's a guy that won the Stanley Cup. Here's a guy that won gold medals. Here's a guy that is generally regarded as one of the best coaches of his generation. And when you pull some of the crap he did, whether it be the Mitch Marner stuff in Toronto, whether it be what happened in Columbus, or all the stories that seeped out that were happening 10, 12, 14 years ago with the Red Wings, I think that's going to rub people the wrong way, especially this younger generation. And again, evolving, as it were. Some people turn that into a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. It's called, treating people with respect. And so in that regard, it's easy to say things like that when you're winning. But what happens if they're what North Carolina has been? What happens if they're 7-5?
Yeah.
KG, what happens if they're 8-4?
That's my biggest concern. Well, I have two concerns, actually. One is the relatability. I think that's the first biggest issue because on his way out the door in New England, he couldn't even relate to grown men. Like, he was having trouble relating to grown men. So in this NIL landscape or in the way college football is operated now, what is that going to look like with Bill Belichick? What is that going to look like when, say, you get the high-priced quarterback at your school and he wants to do things a certain way and you want to do things a different way? How does that, what does that even look like? I think that'll be the true test for him. And also just, talent evaluation was a problem that he had on his way out the door, because after Brady left, a lot of people questioned, like, what are you doing? You're taking these no-name guards that nobody's ever heard of. Your skill positions have been lacking for seasons now. Like, I just worry about what his talent evaluation will be at the college level. Now, of course, in North Carolina, they're willing to shell out money, and I think this is a great move for Chapel Hill. He's going to bring guys to the product. He's going to bring money in, and, you know, he's going to bring talent there because he is a fast track to the NFL. But in terms of relatability to these kids, that, like you said, you can't just talk to him any kind of way, especially if he's making damn near as much or even more than some of the people that are on your staff. It's that, and then it's the talent evaluation part of him actually putting a good product on the field.
I think that's on him, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Sean.
No, go ahead.
Because I truly believe that Bill Belichick realizes the mistakes that he made in New England. I think that he realizes that, okay, I kind of neglected my coordinators. I brought in not the right guys. Yeah. And I think that what he's doing at North Carolina, I mean, he's bringing his son to be the DC, who's a lot younger. Right. He's bringing in a younger staff,
Young
which
girlfriend.
is what he...
Yes, girlfriend. Shout out PD, love that.
Which is what he needs to do. The only way that you can relate to the players is bring in people who can relate to the players, because you aren't going to, like, you are right. He is not going to be able to relate to an 18-year-old who's doing TikTok dances on the sidelines. Like, let's call it how it is. Right. That's not something that he's experienced in his lifetime. But you know what? There are other coaches who have dealt with that he's going to put into the position to handle it so that he doesn't have to be that guy. He's going to take what he did in New England, see what Dan Campbell's doing in Detroit, and just being that head coach's head coach, where he just watches over everything. Yeah. And he just lets his DC, his OC, his skill position coaches be that guy that relates to those guys, and kind of just lets it all hang out like that, and trust with his coordinators and his skill position coaches.
And shout out to James Feldman in the Woodward Sports Chat. He says, UNC grad here, just donated to the program. Let's hope this works.
That a boy.
So supporting that. And we were talking about this yesterday in the back, and Brady, you know, one of our sales guys made a good point. He's like, yeah, he's not going to be able to relate to the 17-year-olds and the 18-year-olds and these kids that are coming in. So maybe he doesn't get the best 5-star recruits and all that. But these guys that are 20, 21, 22 years old on their second transfer portal trip, they're going to go to UNC because they're going to want a guy who knows how to get them into the NFL. Facts. That's all they're looking for, is a coach that can get them into the NFL. So these guys that have been bouncing around from team to team and don't know where to go, why not go take a crack with Bill Belichick?
And you know what? To that point, Spenny, I'm not sitting here saying that an old dog can't learn new tricks. An old dog can learn new tricks if he wants to.
It can work.
The problem with a lot of old dogs is they don't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you heard that old dude, that's the way it's been, that's the way it's always going to be? And listen, I don't know who brought up Dan Campbell. You know what? I would love to ask Dan Campbell. I would love to ask Dan. Hey, Dan, how have you changed from when you were interim coach to being the head man?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you this much. If that was my interim coach, I think I would pull a Rudy and grab every guy in the room and say, let's go to Stephen Ross right now. Yeah. We got to hire this mofo.
You know,
we got to have this guy. I bet you Dan probably just threw his hands up and said, you know what? No, I'm going to be me. I am going to be me, and guys react to real. And I think that's probably how Dan Campbell changed the most.
Yeah, it's a little different with Dan because I feel like he was always authentic no matter what the job he had. You know who Bill Belichick has to be? He has to be Jim Harbaugh after 2020, because that's the perfect example. Jim Harbaugh is somebody that came in, coaching legend in the NFL. Everybody knew what the hell he was bringing to the table. But for some reason, through those first 5 years, it was a lot of strife between the players. It was a lot of strife between him and the rest of the people that run the school. So he had to do some soul searching, because that 2020 came around. You ducked Ohio State. Let's just be real about it. And the question started to come up. Is he really the guy for the job? Yes, he's getting us 9 and 10 wins every year, but he's not doing what he promised us he would do. He's not beating Ohio State. He's not winning the Big Ten, and we're not making any traction in terms of getting toward a national championship. He had to do some soul searching and had to take a pay cut. And after that, you saw a different Jim Harbaugh going into 2021. And that's when you saw the success start to happen. So to Justin's point, if Bill Belichick can humble himself, which I'm not sure if he can, can or cannot, I would more so say, and the 3-year deal thing is kind of a little iffy to me, because how can you really make an impact on the school in 3 years? But that's another thing.
5 years.
Oh, it's 5 years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 3 years initially. But the fact that you have to be able to realize the things that you did wrong in your coaching career and be able to adjust to that, because that's the only way he's going to have success at this level. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, if you're not going to be like a Deion Sanders, who somebody that, yeah, he may not be, on the recruiting trail and doing all the hard work, but they know Deion is somebody that's he's a little bit younger, he's more relatable, he's going to be in the trenches with you. Like, if he's not one of those type of coaches, then it's not going to work.
I think it can, because I look at this as, this is like if in our generation Phil Jackson went to coach Alabama basketball.
Right.
Like, this is the greatest coach of all time going to coach at a non-football school.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do something here. And you've got billionaires that come out of you. You've got Michael Jordan, who, you don't think Michael Jordan's going to pull up to practice now that Bill Belichick's out there?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I expect this to work. I truly do. I don't know if he's going to get the top recruits, but you got to think, if your kid's sitting there, Sean, if you had kids going to college, going to pick college football, and you got Bill Belichick sitting in your living room with 6 Super Bowl rings out on the court, like, this is why you should come to UNC.
Like, literally just knuckles on the table.
Nah, for real. Yeah. And they don't have
There's
to.
a Charlie Weiss joke there somewhere, but I'm gonna let it go.
No, please do. But no, to Spinny's point, you don't have to come in here and win national championships at UNC, especially with the playoff format being what it is. If you can just come in and compete and be one of those 12 teams every single year, and then be like, hey, I'm Bill Belichick. You know the goddamn well, if you come in here and perform, that's a fast track to the NFL. I think that's more than enough for a school like UNC.
You know what I worry about? Going back to basketball, I worry about the Bobby Knight, Pat Knight thing. Like, Bobby Knight's can go to Texas Tech, and he's going to be there for a few years. Don't worry, program's in good hands. Here's my kid.
Right.
That's the type of situation.
Before we go to break, I did just want to make one final point that, like, again, if he's sitting in your living room and your ultimate goal, NIL is great and stuff like that, but your ultimate goal is to play in the NFL, here are all of the owners in the NFL in my contacts that I can call right now.
Yeah.
You want to talk to an NFL owner right now and see what he wants in a draft pick? Like, that is invaluable contacts that he can show people.
They might not be good year 1, but they'll make the playoff year 2 or year 3.
I'm intrigued by it. I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be a major success. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a major failure. I don't know. I think there are positives that we've discussed, and I think that the negative is, how can he relate? And I'm sorry, I will go back to, there is no way that Dan Campbell didn't become more real, because I'm going to say this again. If I'm one of those players and that guy's my coach, I am barging into the owner's office saying, you better keep his ass.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, if you don't keep his ass when I hit free agency, my ass is gone. I'm going to follow that guy wherever he goes. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. We've talked so much about why the guys love Dan Campbell. Well, we've got another example for you coming up. But first, Spenny, tell us about one of our friends.
I'll tell you about Sabbath Coffee Roasters. If you're looking to wake up, start your day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Delicious, locally roasted specialty coffee dropped right off at your doorstep. Subscribe at SabbathCoffeeRoasters.com. Use code word Woodward to get 25% off your first subscription order. Sabbath Coffee Roasters, they're doing coffee best. Just support local and wake up with the best coffee in your cup. It's Sabbath Coffee Roasters.
Get energized for the holidays during the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Now through December 20th, join for $1 down, $15 a month. And recharge this holiday season and beyond in the clean and spacious judgment-free zone, filled with equipment for every workout. Stay motivated with free fitness training and lots more. Celebrate the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $15 a month. Hurry! Offer ends December 20th.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Did someone say merch? Are you tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports wearables? It is a new era, new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Check out Woodward Sports' latest gear at woodwardsports.com and click the shop tab. Hoodies, tees, and hats that are guaranteed to turn heads. Get the latest designs today at woodwardsports.com/shop and make sure you use the code WSN10 for 10% off.
All right, welcome back in. So glad you could join us. It is Big D Energy. Big D. He's Justin. I'm Sean.
The die! Filling in for Neil Rule, baby.
That never gets old.
All right, good stuff. Hey, injury report. Let's get into that right now. The reserves are being filled as we speak.
Yep.
This is the injury report from yesterday. Obviously, you see Taylor Decker, Lee McNeil, full practices.
Yes, sir.
Levi and Josh Pascal limited. DJ Reader, no practice, but he's expected to return to practice today.
Help is on the way.
That's huge. Look
Help
at
is
that.
on the
Avengers
way.
Assemble.
Yes.
That's what it comes back to. It is. I'm going to say it again though. We are living in a situation where legitimately can we acknowledge this? I cannot believe that they've been able to continue winning. Honestly, I mean, and I admitted this earlier in the week when I was on with Neil. You expected a loss somewhere, didn't you?
Absolutely.
You're not a bad fan for saying for me. I thought it was going to be last Thursday. I openly admit it. I openly confess.
If I told you that the Lions would be undefeated without Aiden Hutchinson and they lost him, what week was that?
Week 5 or week 6?
Week 6, and we sit here at 12-1. If I told you we would be undefeated without Hutch in this lineup, you would have told me I was crazy or smoking crack. Like, just being real. No, it's been absolutely amazing what this Lions defense has been able to do. Not just the players. You got to give credit to the coaching staff as well. AG, Terrell Williams, Kelvin Shepard, man, they've done everything in their power to make sure that these guys are ready, and they have performed, man. I mean, even just pulling guys off the street that have no clue what's going on here and have to suit up day one, and they've been able to come in and make an impact as well.
It's just made us all want to just shoot up even more Kool-Aid into the veins.
Right.
Like, let's be honest here. Like, this Lions team is inevitable.
We all, and we joked about this the day after the game. KG, I think you were with Spenny and I that day. Let's be honest. Don't we all fancy ourselves? I know what's going on. I know this team like the back of my hand. Like, everybody and their brother, like as we were saying earlier, all this information is out there now. So the chances of him or me knowing any more than you are very slim. We live in an information society today. But we all had that moment during that Green Bay game, didn't we? Where you're like, who the hell is that guy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who is that? Who 43, and then you find yourself, and you don't want to admit it to your friends.
Right.
You know, right? I mean,
No, the biggest one for me, we got Jamal Adams, right? So I'm sitting up here like, Jamal Adams made the tackle. It's Miles Adams. Who the fuck is Miles Adams? Like, it's crazy.
It is unbelievable. So, you know what? It's a damn good thing. We're at that point where guys are going to come back. In a perfect world, the break at Thanksgiving would have been a true break, like the break the Cowboys had. I mean, the Cowboys had the game on Thursday and didn't have to play until Monday. You cannot put a price tag. Ask guys that have played. You know, whether guys that are in it right now or guys that have played. Even that extra 3 or 4 days, you guys, just treatment, doing nothing. You can't put a price tag on that. But as Spenny brought up, we've had to wait for 10 days.
Yeah.
Now, it sucks for us.
It does suck.
I'm not going to lie. It sucks, right? Like Frisco and the Rams tonight. I'm in. Part of the fun is which Rams team is going to show up.
No,
that's always a fun little game to play. But I'm fiending for my Lions right now. But if there was a time for us to have to wait, bless you, us to have to wait 10 days, Right now is the perfect time. And Justin, that injury report that Spenny just put up. Spenny, if you want to put that injury report up again real quick. Man, if that doesn't cause a quiver in your nether region, I don't know what will, man. That's awesome to see that type of stuff right now. This is a good time to have 10 days off.
It's an amazing time. And also, the Bills are dealing with the ladder right now. They have to deal with traveling home from LA on a Sunday night game, so that already delays travel enough. And then they have to travel all the way back to Buffalo. Then they have to practice, and then they have to come to Detroit, another road game. The schedule sucked the last 3 games. The stretch was awful. We dealt with injuries, but this is the time when schedule starts to ease out a little bit. We start to kind of coast a little bit and just kind of, this game, and then we're looking towards the playoffs.
Yeah, love every second of it. I'm a big fan of the word culture, but I think the word culture has become bastardized over the last couple of years because of its popularity. And I'm gonna tie this in to what we were just talking about with Bill Belichick, okay? You can't put a price tag on what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and his staff have done to the culture around here. This is one of those times I'm going to have to say, you're going to have to take my word for it, okay? I can't tell you how many times I went into that locker room or I was at a game doing the post game or one of the television shows or whatever, and it's the beginning of November. It's the middle of November. And these guys are all shot. And it's done. And you walk in the room. And you see it. You feel it. And most importantly, anybody who had been in that room sees it and feels it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to bring up this story again. I remember one time in 2019, this was nearing the end of the Matt Patricia era, where it was literally the first week of November. And Lomas Brown and I are walking out of the room just going, wow, we got 2 more months of this. We legit have 2 more months of this. Because even when you make the change, right, the sun may peek out from behind the clouds, but there's still a shitload of clouds there. You need to fumigate that whole season. You need to fumigate that whole regime, okay? And so what Dan Campbell has done in changing the culture of this franchise, I'm going to say it again, I don't think enough is said about that. Now, with that being said, part of it is, and we've talked about this so much, why do the guys love Dan Campbell? Why do the guys love Dan Campbell?
Because he's authentic.
Right.
He's real.
He's real. And you know what? He believes in those guys. And he says, yeah, guys, 4th and 3 at the 48. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I love you guys. I believe in you. Go make me look smart.
Yeah.
And gosh damn it, they've made him look smart. And as we talked about on Monday, whether people want to admit it or not is absolutely inconsequential. It doesn't mean shit to me, okay? Dan Campbell and the way he runs a football game has changed football. Not the NFL, not college football. Football. You see it at all levels. I do high school games on Fridays. You're seeing coaches go for it on their own 45 on a 4th and 1, which was absolutely unheard of 2 years ago. You see it in college each and every week. You see it in the National Football League. You have the what is it? The odds of doing this. Well, the stat tracker says you got a 90% chance, and this is the right call 90% of the time. This is the right call 67% of the time. Those are things that we didn't see just a couple years ago in the National Football League. And yes, absolutely positively, I call that the Dan Campbell effect, okay? So the guys swear by him. They love him. They know that you're not going to hit every time, and the Lions haven't hit every time. But a vast majority of time, you're going to hit. And to that point, how many times have you guys heard me say that? I know I've talked about it with you, KG. I talked about it with you, Spenny. Did you see what Richard Sherman had? Why don't you show everybody what Richard Sherman had, Spenny?
Having a conversation with all of us. And Whit was like, hey, what was the conversation like on the sideline before that 4th and 1? Jared basically comes over and Dan's on the headset, telling him, hey, we're kicking it. And Jared, dejected, is like, man, I want to go. And Dan Campbell just looks at him and said, you want to do it? F it, we're going for it. And then he changes his mind and goes for it.
They are going. And then Goff falls down, but Montgomery is able to pick up the first down. So Goff falls down as he's making the handoff. What a call.
I mean, Dan Campbell's got me cheesing ear to ear right now. Like, that is just, what more to say other than that is beautiful. To have the faith in Jared Goff like that, for him to just be like, man, I really wanted to go for that. We got that. Yeah. And he's like, oh, you got the confidence. Oh, let's go. Let's go right now. I'll hang my whole nuts on the table. It's absolutely amazing. There's no coach like Dan Campbell. There's no coach in their right mind that has honestly, the sadistic nature to do something like that and to just put the nail in the coffin and not even put it up to chance. I just love it.
You don't think the guys love him for that?
Absolutely. Like, Dan Campbell is almost like a movie coach at this point. It's like some shit you see in a movie. You want to go for it? Sure, let's go for it. Like, I love the fact that Dan Campbell is not the conventional type of coach. Because, yes, you need some level of X's and O's. Yes, you need some level of analytics. But I've said this before. I will continue to say it. Dan Campbell, he is a coach that coaches off of feel. And to have a game presence and a pulse on what the hell the situation is, I think that's immeasurable. And that's something that you don't see in a lot of coaches, even some of the best coaches in the NFL. Like, do you think Matt LaFleur makes a decision like that? Do you think Kevin O'Connell makes a decision like that? Not to say they are bad coaches. These are very, very smart people who have worked hard to get to the positions that they're at. But the fact that you have a coach that just knows, like, I've compared him to Jim Leland before and people of that nature. I guess if you want to go back in the NFL, Bill Parcells was another guy that coached not necessarily off emotion, but he just had a feel for the game and the moment. And I love that Dan Campbell doesn't coach scared. He goes out there, he tries to go for the victory. And like you said, he trusts his guys, and that just endears a locker room. We talk about the culture. This is why. If I'm paying y'all, I should believe in y'all, right? Like, I trust y'all with everything that I have in my being, even if that means I'm going to get ridiculed by the media. So I just love that about
Dan Campbell doesn't give a shit about the media.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, let's just call it
he
straight
doesn't,
up.
but he knows if that call doesn't work, he's going to get it.
Well, and I always go back to, and because a hockey guy's sitting next to me, I always go back to Patrick Waugh. I know what people think about Patrick Waugh in this town. Patrick Waugh absolutely, positively changed the game of hockey and was a trendsetter. Yeah. Forever and a day, you pulled the goalie with a minute and a half left.
It happened last night.
Between a minute and a half left, right?
Yeah.
Why? Did anybody ever take a step back and go, why? And in Dan Campbell's case, it's, well, why not? Well, you have to punt the ball away on a 4th and 2 from the 48. Okay, why? Well, you can't go for it. Okay, why not?
Exactly.
And that's what Patrick Waugh did that. And when he did it, I shit you not, the entire hockey world goes, Waugh's lost his mind. He's pulling his goalie with 3.5 minutes to go. What the hell are you doing that for? Find me a level of the game now where you're not seeing the goaltender pulled with 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes.
Sabres did it last night.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so. He took his shots. But... People fired daggers. People fired daggers at Dan Campbell for it. But you know what? I mean, ask yourself this question. You don't have to listen to me. You watch any football? Happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Every level now. We're seeing teams do that. Last Saturday, I saw a team go for it on their own 28.
Yeah.
In a championship game.
It's ridiculous.
All right, Spenny's screaming at me that we need to take a break, so I'm going to take a break right now. Hi, Spenny.
Hi, Sean. Well, let me tell you guys about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. You can walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and get an amazing haircut. Scan that QR code right there and get $20. $20 haircut. Where are you going to find that today? You'll find it at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, and it's not just a haircut. Comes with a hot leather neck shave, a scalp massage, and a hot towel treatment from one of our talented, lovely stylists. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk-ins are always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Begin Injuries? Big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Want to know where the best pregame Lions party is on December 15th for Bills Lions? Well, let me tell you. Join us at Detroit's very own second best bar, located at 42 Watson Street, for the ultimate fan experience. Enjoy the smooth Tullamore Irish whiskey while catching the Woodward Sports pregame show only at Second Best Bar. Come get some and join me.
Looking forward to it.
There we see Neil and Terry.
Wow.
Hey,
the past
shout
and
out.
present of the Detroit Media Association is what Neil said.
Couple of handsome fellas right there.
Yeah, man. The cream's in your mouth a little bit.
Good stuff. We are looking forward to being down on Watson Street. Now, we get to start early. Why don't you guys start early with us? All right?
I'll be there too. I will not be a part of the show, but I will be drinking and I will be getting ready for that game.
It's a great
Second
time.
best is the spot.
Second best is unbelievable. Listen, the wings, just try them. Okay, just trust me. It was funny. Easy hit me up. You guys were out there. Great job as always, Spenny. Easy hit me up and he goes, "Are those wings legit?" And I said, "Yeah." I'm a dry rub guy. No disrespect to some of the wing joints out there, the B-dubs of the world, etc. You know what? You give me a good dry rub, I don't need no stinking sauce.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It's like when I barbecue, like KG, I promise you're coming over to my house for a barbecue.
I can't wait, bro.
I can't wait either.
I promise you guys are coming. Like, if I do a good job with my meat, you don't need no stinking sauce, man.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I believe in that.
And that's the way that it is at Second Best. It's a great spot. We'd love to have you guys out there on
Also,
Sunday as well.
so convenient. I was at a concert at Masonic Temple, and it was 1 a.m, and we're walking around, we're looking for a bar, and just all of a sudden, we're walking by LCA, and it dings on me. Second Best is a block away.
Right.
And I pull up to Second Best. They're so nice, so kind, make great drinks. Please hit up Second Best. Great spot. It's a great spot.
You know what? Can I want to continue with Dan Campbell for a second, if you guys don't mind, because I think Spenny's got a great point about Carlton Davis that we want to get to. But I mean, you guys think about it, okay? We've all been, whether it be a job when you were young, or maybe you're a dude that you're at work right now, okay? And you're watching this right now. You're an older dude. We've all been in a workplace with, you know what? We're not on Fox, right?
Fox too.
Spenny, we're not on Fox, right?
No, we're not.
Assholes,
Fox
right?
too.
How many of us have had an asshole for a boss? Okay,
Oh, man.
where like you see the dude, and instead of walking up to him and talking to him, you're just like, I don't want to deal with this guy today.
Like, I'll smack the shit out of him.
Right? I'm not in the mood for it. Bite your tongues. Every one of you guys bite your tongues right now, unless you feel free to say it. But I can tell you, one of the last places that I worked, like this, you guys want to do the math, you can figure it out. There was a dude that was so toxic there, and everybody knew he was toxic, and everybody talked about him being toxic, but we all had to pretend like he wasn't. And it's just like that. I'm sorry, that's no place to work. It isn't. It's just like, and then when you're gone, it's one of those things you're like, oh my gosh, thank the Lord.
Yeah.
I can't believe I put up with it for as long as I did. And unfortunately, that was kind of the thing with the Detroit Lions. It was. The last few years. Now, I'm going to say this again. I thought Matt Patricia was a great guy. I had no issue with Matt Patricia. Oh? And I know I'm not supposed to say that. I know I'm supposed to hate him with everything inside of me. But consider the source. I say that Matt Millen was a good dude.
Yeah, Matt Millen.
He was the worst general manager arguably in the history of sports, but he was a good dude. And all I can tell you about my interactions with Matt Patricia was cool to me. But I saw what Matt Patricia did. And most importantly, I heard from guys in that room what Matt Patricia did, okay? Now you compare that to what Dan Campbell is. And this is not Camp Happy Times under Steve Mariucci, where everybody sat around singing the Legoland, everything is awesome. No, this is legit. Everything really is awesome because it's not just the way they treat each other in the room, but it's the way they go out and stir a curb stomp every week. So now everything is awesome. This is not a fake type of thing. But I don't care what anybody says. You guys, I don't think we say enough about what Dan Campbell has done. And that's why, and I'm not going to say his name anymore, okay? I'm just not. The guy, I know you had some comments the other day, Spenny. I had some comments. The Rip Raylises of the world. I won't say his name either. There are guys that see this and they know that, but they can't agree with it. There's something in their DNA that makes them want to be a contrarian and just say everything to the contrary. Sorry, I'm the type of person, if I see something, I say it. And if I don't see something, I say it as well. I don't think we're seeing enough, fellas, seriously, about what Dan Campbell has done to flip this franchise and the idea of this franchise.
I don't think there's a sentiment that you can say. I don't think you can even put it in words. You can't measure it. You can't put it in words. He has truly transcended anything and everything that the Lions fans could have hoped for in a head coach.
100%. What? And can I take it a step further? Yeah. You guys, and some of you may already know this, some of you may not. I can't tell you what a horrible reputation this franchise had around the league.
Oh, we know that.
KG, seriously, I can't. I had legends in this town, legends, without mentioning any names, tell me point blank, I have no intention of coming back. And conversely, I never thought it'd be back since they came back.
And listen, like we talked about Bill Belichick, that shit doesn't even work with winning organizations. I mean, you know, yeah, it was cool for the 6 Super Bowls, but you eventually start to hear he's burning people out. You know, you go there, you're gonna be miserable. You can't. It's a no fun place. And then eventually you saw the downfall. So why would the hell would I want to get up for a losing team? Like, you know, it's one thing to be on a winning team, but you doing that shit and this is like the worst organization in sports? Like, fuck that. Like, why would I want to be a part of that? So no, I mean, we drive the culture shit into the ground. But the fact of the matter is, they had to do a deep dive culture change. Like, that is really the main reason why the Lions are good now. It's because they are selective in who they bring in here, but they also treat these players like humans. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm going to tell you where you stand. Every single time when you come in these doors, you don't have to worry, oh, what's Dan Campbell thinking? Oh, what's Brad Holmes thinking while he's sitting on the sideline over here? They're honest about it. And they take care of the players that come in here and do what they are asked to do. We've seen it, man. And they are ahead of the curve instead of being 2 steps behind. And that alone has made a marginal difference in the win column and just in the way the Lions are viewed as an organization throughout the league. Like you said, the reputation was horrible.
Do you know who doesn't get the flowers that he deserves? And he'd probably get pissed at me for even bringing up his name.
Chris Spielman?
I don't want that man pissed at me. Chris Spielman.
Yeah.
Chris Spielman was here. Chris Spielman was here during the former glory days, which we all know weren't really the glory days. Like, Neil and I are old enough to remember 91. It was magical. It kind of came out of nowhere. And being at the Silverdome that day when they beat the Lions or beat the Cowboys was unbelievable. But I think part of that magic was, wow, we're here now. But it's like when Pat Summerall came out and said during the broadcast, John, I think we're looking at the 2 teams from the 90s. Like, I'll never forget that. I came home and what a loser I was. I immediately watched the game that I taped on my VCR, and I heard Pat Summerall say that during the broadcast, and I'm like, this is real. This is what I've waited for my whole life. Mm-hmm. And then the Dallas Cowboys go and win 3 out of the next 4 Super Bowls, and we don't win another playoff game. But Chris Spielman was here. Chris Spielman was out on the field. Chris Spielman was in the trenches. Chris Spielman saw everything that was wrong with this franchise from the very top to the very bottom. You bring in a guy like that can see this, and you couple that with a guy like Dan Campbell, who we've all talked about is the ultimate player's coach, and Richard Sherman just showed you that, you are going to change a culture.
Absolutely. It's the little things, too. It's bringing, Calvin Johnson back into the fold after, the fallout was horrible. It's little things like Sheila going in front of the press when you're 1-6, because how many times did we just want accountability from the people at the top when this shit was horrible?
You got it.
We couldn't even hear a peep out of Willie Clay, for all those years as to why this shit was so bad. Yeah, I know, right? But at least Sheila had the cojones, I don't even know what else to call it, to come out and be like, hey, I know this shit not good right now, but these are our guys. I believe in them, and I'm sticking by them. That alone was a turning point in the Lions' trajectory into where they are now. So, like I said, it's the little things that matter, man, and it's the little details that these guys at the top seem to be able to understand and to be able to execute, and that is a big reason as to why we're here now.
And conversely, fellas, I don't know about you, like Spenny, not that long ago, I was still in pinch me mode. Is this really happening? Pinch me. Is this really happening? I'm not anymore. Man, I expect it.
Yeah.
Now I expect it. I'm really there. Those aren't just words. I'm not trying to make myself feel better. But we all, I think for a while, did the pinch me stuff. Maybe last year during the playoff. But now, you know what? Gosh damn it, I expect it, and I expect even more now.
I know everyone flexes their chest we're winning the Super Bowl. We're winning the Super Bowl because we want to be right. We want to have that call. We all want to be there and be right at the end. But I think in all reality, everyone in this room, everyone at this network knows at the bare minimum this team is making the Super Bowl. And that's not like radio talks, head speak, or anything like that. There is a genuine know and feeling that this team is so special, and it is the expectation to get to the Super Bowl and to get there and win.
Was I actually on time this time, Spenny?
Yeah, you were. It's perfect.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Miracles do happen.
Tell us about Planet Fitness, Justin.
Well, this is where your own miracle can happen. You saw what happened to Neil Rule. Fitness that fits your budget. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 locations in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you will experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment and a knowledgeable and friendly staff that is totally judgment-free. Do you know that all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? Well, upgrade to the Black Card and get amenities such as hydro massage chairs, total body enhancement, and all access to over 2,500 locations. Get more information for Planet Fitness at www.planetfitness.com.
And let me tell you about Jars. All right, Woodward sports fans, whether you're hitting the game or just chilling, Jars Cannabis has you covered. Jars is home to Michigan's largest lineup of recreational cannabis products. They've got 27 locations across the state, repping Michigan in a big way. 9 of their locations are right here in Metro Detroit, so there's always one nearby. If you are in Grand Rapids, Madison Heights, or Milan, get ready. New stores are coming your way soon. It is Jars Cannabis.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
1800 Tequila is the official tequila partner of the live watch party and the post-game show here at Woodward Sports. They're also a proud partner of the Detroit Lions. You see they got the Lions-themed bottle right there in stores near you. Go get some and make sure you have the smoothest taste in tequila, 1800 Tequila. And of course, as always, please drink responsibly.
All right, welcome back in. Big D Energy. Neil will be back tomorrow. D-Mac will be back Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's Justin. I'm Sean.
Nobody tells me.
I promise we are going to get to some hockey stuff in a few minutes. No doubt about that. And I agree with some of the things that you heard some of the players. The Detroit Red Wings are a team that need a spark right now. They've been a chore to watch. Are we being honest? Can I be honest?
Yep, that is very honest.
They've been a chore to watch. They need a spark. Why not keep a spark? But, Spenny, you brought up a great point. Listen, we were talking to the break, folks. Like, you can't talk enough Lions. You can't. Like, we could easily do 2 hours of just Lions alone, and then Ermanni and Edwards could follow up with 2 more hours as well. But Spenny, you brought up a great point. I want you to carry this baby.
Yeah, I just wanted to put some respect out there for our guy C. Murda, the Gray Bush in the Detroit Lions secondary, Carlton Davis, and what he has been doing for these cornerbacks. You see it here. This is from the Detroit Times. Is since week 9, Carlton Davis is PFF's top-rated cornerback with an overall defensive grade of 83.1. Number 1 in the NFL. Not top 5, not top 10, not for this week. He was top graded since week 9. So going on 6 weeks now, he has been the best graded cornerback in the NFL. Carlton Davis is extremely important for this team, being the old head in that room where you got 2 rookies behind you in Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw, being the guy with Super Bowl pedigree on this team. He was a cornerback 1 in Tampa Bay when they won their Super Bowl. It is so impressive what he's been doing for this team with a broken thumb. Right. He's been playing for weeks with a broken thumb. This guy is just absolutely locked down. He's the perfect corner to put into Aaron Glenn's system when you look at how he likes these big physical guys that'll harass you off the line of scrimmage. Carlton Davis has been so good. And Justin, what has he meant for kind of the development of a Terrion Arnold or an Ennis Rakestraw?
You see it every single week. Every single week, Terrion Arnold gets better with the handsiness and the penalties. You haven't necessarily seen a lot from Ennis Rakestraw yet, but in terms of Carlton Davis, he has truly brought a nuance to this secondary that we haven't seen in a very long time since Darius Slay left. That he has been able to take that number 1 receiver and he has been able to just, all right, you are on an island. We are going to take you away, and he is doing it as well as almost any other cornerback in the NFL. And yeah, it helps that he has Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph over the top. Let's not kid ourselves. But you still need to be able to be in the right positions. That grade would be even higher if he didn't break his thumb. He's dropped 2 interceptions purely because he doesn't have a hand.
Mm-hmm. KG, I'm going to take this in a different direction, and I'm going to tie it into what you and I were just talking about, okay? Right. Winning is contagious.
Absolutely.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do, okay? And conversely, so is losing. Losing is contagious. Losing is a disease that you have to do everything you can, by any means necessary, to get that out of the system. And it is fascinating to me to watch the Lions, whether it be a Carlton Davis, whether it be some of these literal no-name guys that you pulled off the street, you put them in the roster, and oh my gosh, they become Lions right away and they make plays.
Yeah, and it's because they don't carry the pass with them. That's also been another great strength for this organization and the people they brought in over the last 2 to 3 years, is that they don't carry the weight of that SOL bullshit that we was dealing with. These are people that are coming from either winning teams or winning college programs, and that come in here, they're dialed in, they love football, and they want to do everything in their power to change the narrative about the Detroit Lions, and that's why it works. You're bringing in people that are very, very coachable. There's no egos on this team. There's no selfish people on this team. You're not hearing people, in the press conferences talking about how they don't like each other. Shout out to everybody in Philly. We don't have that, and it's so beautiful to not have to deal with that. Everybody is on the same page, and that's one of the hardest things to do when you have a building of let's say over 100 people and a 68-man roster if you include the practice squad. It's hard to get everybody on the same page, on the same accord, and that's what this front office, that's what this coaching staff has been able to do. do. The people that they bring in, they know, okay, I don't have to worry about him. They're going to be able to come in. They can accept the teaching that we're giving them on the fly, and they'll be able to adjust. And that's why you see the success out of a Carlton Davis and even a young Terry and Arnold, who has come in and pretty much hit the ground running as a rookie. I've stood by him the whole time. I didn't care about the flags. I know that he's not getting beat in coverage. I know that he's not Cam Sutton. He's not Jeff Okudah. Like, he has come in and been able to do the damn thing, but that's because the Lions had a target vision of what they wanted in that backfield. And from the day that Brad Holmes said, I'm going to revamp this whole room, he has done it successfully, and that's why.
You know what I love too, and I think it piggybacks on what you're saying, is you've watched this franchise turn into the franchise where whose turn is it to make a big play?
Yeah.
And everybody's fired up about it. It's not, that was my ball. It's not, oh, it's my turn to eat this week. Justin makes a play. Spenny's going to be the first guy that runs over to Justin and lifts him up off the ground. KG makes a play. You know, that's my dog. That, whatever the case may be.
Sir.
And you watch it. You see it. And it really is a beautiful thing. And again, it's a testament to that which we speak of. Now, I got to be honest with you. We see things like this. I was telling these guys before the show began. I got to call some of us out a little bit, okay? Because while we're all laughing, I think a lot of us are talking out of both sides of our mouth right now, okay? And here's what I mean by that. The past couple weeks, it is, I'm not going to lie to you, it's hysterical. To hear from Bear fan, well, Bear fan not so much, Viking fan and Packer fan talking about how lucky the Lions are.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm serious. Keep it coming. Give it to me in wheelbarrows.
Oh, my
Seriously.
favorite is we're getting bailed out by the referees. That's my favorite.
Bring the dump truck in.
I have a YouTube video 20 minutes long about the Lions screw jobs in the last 30 years.
Dump that shit all over me.
Yes.
I am serious.
Paul.
Right at the go right ahead, okay? I was going to take it someplace it didn't need to be even further than that.
Fox
but, okay? Do you know why, you guys? I lived it.
Yeah.
He lived it. Do you know how many videos are out there? Do you know how many times I've had to watch my pal Joik Bell with a disgusted look on his face say Detroit versus everybody? Detroit versus everybody. I want it. Give it all to me, okay? And I think Lion fans are there right now. And I'm sorry. Now I understand your view. I didn't understand it before. Now I do. The view from up here as I'm looking down on you is awesome. And that's what you guys did for years. You looked down on us. And you know what? I'm man enough to say, you were right. I like this view a hell of a lot better.
Damn right.
It is awesome to look down on you. It's awesome, okay? But I also want to remind a lot of Lions fans, and I don't know, there might be one in this room. You guys can call yourself out. If I'm going to call the Packer fans and Bear fans out for playing that shit, and you're going to talk about it out of this side of your mouth, then out of that side of your mouth, I don't want to hear you say the same thing about the two-time defending Super Bowl champion. I don't. Obviously, they're doing something right.
It's witchcraft.
It is witchcraft. It is. But I don't want to hear it. Like that's stupid. If you're going to complain when people are doing it about you, don't say that about the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to be crystal clear when I say this, okay? Do I think the Detroit Lions can beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Abso-freaking-lutely. I think it's destiny. I have felt it was destiny for a year. And as somebody who said at the beginning of the year, I was afraid that the Kansas City Chiefs were going to beat the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl, I don't feel that way anymore. I really, truly don't. I'm not saying that to try to kiss your ass or anybody's ass. I think the Detroit Lions are the better team. But I also know that Patrick Mahomes is there. And I also know that winning becomes contagious. And when you consistently find a way to win football games, when people think it's, as Spenny said, witchcraft, you're doing something right. Because I think people could say that about us the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
How the hell did you beat the Bears? How the hell did you beat the Packers with those injuries? So that's all I'm saying. I love this view from the penthouse, okay? But let's not be what we detest and try to take from somebody else. Let's just relish the fact, hey, I hope you see you. Wouldn't it be great? We're the ones that ruined the 3 Super Bowl in a row dream that the NFL has. I stand by that. They want it. They want it as much as they want air, food, shelter, and water.
Yeah.
They want Patrick Mahomes' face on that logo, and they want to be able to tell everybody, this is the first team that won 3 Super Bowls in a row. And I want the Lions to throw the middle finger at them.
No, for sure. And, like, Sean, I don't disagree with you because you can't take nothing away from the Chiefs. I mean, clearly, they are the current dynasty in the NFL. I'm just talking about in this year in particular. I think the brand of football is a stark difference between what the Lions are doing and what the Chiefs are doing right now. Now, granted, they continue to win ball games, and that's what a Super Bowl champion dynasty-like team like the Chiefs are built to do. They are going to find ways to win games, even if it comes off of a doink off of the damn goalpost at the end, man. Like, but it's just, for me, it's the quality of football being played. The Lions have been borderline dominant in damn near every single game this year. Even the closer games is like, yeah, they came back in the end. If you want to bring up the Bears game, for example, we had a 23-7 lead going into the fourth quarter. Yes, they came back and rallied at the end, but ultimately, like, I had no doubt that the Lions were going to win that game. So it's just, in terms of, I don't think the way the Chiefs are playing right now is sustainable. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's fair. But can I? What you just said? Did you guys watch a game against the Chargers?
Yeah.
Was there any doubt in any of your mind how that game was going to end?
Yeah, but that's more so on the Chargers.
Oh, it is a Charger thing as well. But that's what the Chiefs do. The Chiefs just find a way. And it's the same thing. They might flip the switch. Shout out to Chauncey Billups. They might flip the switch for a couple drives in a row and boom, boom, score a couple touchdowns. And then they just go back to being kind of the lethargic, snail-paced Chiefs, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same thing, and the Raiders game is an even more relevant example.
It's been too many examples this year of that.
They botched a snap when they were in field goal range with a 2-point deficit to beat the Chiefs, and they didn't do it. They fumbled the snap, gave it right to the Chiefs. That you can't even make it up. It's you make your own luck, and I truly believe that. The Chiefs make their own luck. The Lions make their own luck. There's no magic. There's no voodoo magic. When you are a good team, you find ways to win no matter how it looks. And if it's some bullshit fumble or some play action call or pass interference call, that's how it is. That's the NFL. It is the NFL. Lions only have one offensive pass interference penalty, by the way. So eat that, Lions ref haters.
Dan Campbell doesn't care about the MVP. Why do you? We'll get into that. Want to get into some Red Wing stuff as well. But Spenny, first, tell us about some friends.
Tell us about New Holland, Justin.
I will tell us about New Holland. Because
I can tell you about New Holland.
Oh, yes, I can. Especially when I'm at second best. These things are getting deleted. Like the way that Neil deletes us when he talks about Michigan. Right. But the Tangerine Space Machine is an easy IPA with out-of-this-world flavor, smooth and juicy with a refreshing crushability. Take your taste buds to the moon with the Tangerine Space Machine. Grab yourself a can of this intergalactic hazy goodness, the official beer of outer space, brewed by New Holland. And don't forget to check out the peach one too. That's my favorite. And crush those brews like there's no tomorrow.
Get energized for the holidays during the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Now through December 20th, join for $1 down, $15 a month. And recharge this holiday season and beyond in the clean and spacious judgment-free zone, filled with equipment for every workout. Stay motivated with free fitness training and lots more. Celebrate the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $15 a month. Hurry! Offer ends December 20th.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Are you overdue for a new car? Beat the holiday rush and get an amazing deal from Les Stanford Chevrolet. Right now, get a Blazer EV 2LT with all-wheel drive, only $149 per month, or an Equinox EV LT for only $169 per month. Get to Les Stanford today and click on the QR code on the screen to check out our massive inventory. Don't forget, Les Stanford has Cadillac, Buick, GMC as well. Les Stanford in Dearborn and Ferndale. LesStanford.com.
Welcome to Big D Energy. I am Justice Atawa, and next to me is the respected Sean Belizean. In the booths, we have KG and Spenmo Rackster. And shout out to Byrne for the $5 super chat. The Chiefs have the worst point differential of any 12-1 team ever. The Lions have a point differential on the same level as the 1984 49ers.
Yep. So as long as, who was that?
1984 49ers.
No, who was that said that?
Byrne.
Burn.
Okay, Burn, thanks for the shout out. As long as you accept you're a hypocrite, we'll be cool. We're cool. You're a hypocrite. You are.
I am. I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah,
it's
okay,
fucking
good.
witchcraft.
Yeah, I'm a hypocrite too.
Hey, and I have no problem with that. Just as long as we can confess you're a hypocrite, we'll all move on with our day. Because I don't know, I just find it funny if we sit there and laugh and giggle and scoff at all the people that are doing it to us. If I'm a Chief fan right now, you know what I'm doing? Remember how we were talking about dangling those rings?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, of course.
Aren't you guys adorable?
Aren't you guys still cute?
Look at you
Oh,
guys.
yeah, the Chiefs
Look
do.
at you. Maybe you'll get to your first Super Bowl this year. I'll have to
Right.
see you there.
You haven't even been to the Super Bowl yet. Well, you're still
Right.
talking.
They get the right to do it. They do. But I'm sorry. I just look at them like how I looked at the 49ers last year and then this year. Last year, they made a playoff run. It was all great. They got to the Super Bowl, lost to the Chiefs. That's cool, right? But when you look at the fact that, okay, they've been doing this for how long now? They've been to how many NFC championship games? They've incurred how many injuries? And then they come into this year and they look like a shell of themselves. And I'm starting to think that's how the Chiefs look. You look at the situation with Travis Kelce. He's 1 foot out the door. Isaiah Pacheco's getting hurt. They're starting to incur a lot of injuries. Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the league. He's all world. We all know that. But this year, the way he's performed, it just don't look the same.
Isn't it funny,
He's uncomfortable with the amount of pressure he's getting. His offensive line is not as good as they have been in years past.
Well, we saw that when he lost the Super Bowl. Tampa made his life miserable.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, they really did. That was and coincidentally, if you remember when Brady lost to the Giants, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
The second time in particular, they made Tom Brady's life miserable. That Giants got healthy at the right time. If you remember, they got in the last game of the year. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, they came in with their whole defensive line intact. It's amazing how that works out. I feel what you're saying about Frisco, but I think the difference is if I didn't see Kansas City do this for years running.
I hear you.
And that's, to me, because I always go back to last year. I was one of those guys that started to convince myself that it was over last year.
Yeah.
And I remember when they lost to, coincidentally, Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders, I was kind of like, well, that's that. You don't lose to Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders and expect to go win a Super Bowl.
I'm not saying they done. I'm just saying some of the things that's going on in their organization leads me to believe that the writing is on the wall, that they might only get maybe 1 more or 2 more cracks at this thing before they got to retool and figure out what the next version of the Chiefs will look like.
And I think that listen, the conversation that goes hand to hand, I think there's a reason why you haven't seen anybody win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, there's a reason for that, okay? I mean, you could make the argument that maybe Dallas came the closest, and Jimmy Johnson left, and we'll always have if Jimmy Johnson would have stayed, would they have won 4 in a row debate and things like that? But honestly, I'm afraid of that which you can't see, but we can all see.
You're seeing the cracks in the infrastructure that have started over the last 2 years. You know, when you win a Super Bowl, your roster usually gets rated for talent, and people want contract extensions, and that you're not allowed to pay everyone, and you don't have the money to pay everyone. But missing Ladarius Sneed, having to get rid of Orlando Brown, and just the constant changes in their offensive line. Their offensive line 2 years ago was one of the best in the NFL through and through. Good tackles, all-pro center. I mean, now you're middle of the road tackles, still all-pro center, but Mahomes sits back there and he's not standing back there. He's bouncing back there. He has that second thought when it comes to throwing the football that he just hasn't had, where he's been free flow slinging it. And this is not the vintage Mahomes that you're used to seeing. He is completely uncomfortable back there, and it is due to the fact their offensive line has just crumbled over the last 2 years.
And all these issues, and they're 12-1.
Yep.
It's insane. It really is. I have no problem if you call it witchcraft, like Spenny or Burn. I don't have any problem with that. But I'm not going to get in the habit of detracting from 12-1 teams. You know what I mean? I don't like it when somebody does it with my team and all the injuries that we have and how we're picking guys off the street and everything. So I'm certainly not going to do it to another 12-1 team. A 12-1 team, by the way, that's won 2 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah. What I will say about it and the matchup between the two, if it is in fact the Super Bowl matchup, we believe it is. I mean, I truly do believe it is. I like the matchup in terms of personnel. In terms of personnel, we have the personnel to make them one-dimensional on offense. We have the defensive line to shut down Pacheco, and then we have the 2 safeties that we could drop deep to make sure Mahomes can't beat us over our head. That is the way that you beat Patrick Mahomes.
And I like our corners better than their receivers.
Absolutely.
As well.
A lot better.
That as well.
That's a lot better.
And we haven't even talked about the offensive side of the football. Their defensive line, outside of Chris Jones, is not very good. The Lions should be able to run the ball on the Chiefs. The Lions should be able to get those free-flowing routes across the middle. The JMO 15-yard in route that scores touchdowns 2 times already this season. Those are the type of routes that are going to be open. They're not going to be able to guard our receivers. They're not going to be able to stop the run game. It's going to be a long day for the Chiefs when they play the Lions, just when you look at the stylistic way that both these teams are made up.
Yeah.
And then there's Mike Tomlin, who I see Mike Tomlin on the screen, and I cannot say enough. And it's so funny. Steelers head coach since 2007. Would you think about that? In today's era, that dude's been able to hang around. Since 1969, the Pittsburgh Steelers have had 3 coaches.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's insane.
He hasn't had a losing season since the iPhone became popular.
I actually saw him just smile. I don't think it's
crazy.
anything that McAfee said. I think it was one of the other dudes, but I actually saw him just smile.
Call me crazy before we move off this Tomlin topic. I would rather face the Chiefs in the Super Bowl than the Steelers.
Absolutely.
I'll pass.
I'll pass
hard.
I love the Steelers.
Oh
this
no!
year.
I'm with you, Justin.
Here comes Russell Wilson. Whatever
It's
will I do?
nothing to do with the offense. It's their defense. It's the fact that their
It's
defensive
everything to do
line
with
has.
Patrick Mahomes. Though.
Well, and here, at the end of the day, this is a game that's predicated on offense now, whether we want to admit it or not.
True.
And
That's
that's
fine. Until
I'm
you
sorry,
run into a buzzsaw.
I'll face Russell Wilson all day.
No, that's
over
true.
Patrick
Russell Wilson
Mahomes.
is easy pickings, but the fact that their defensive line might be the only defensive line that can stand up to this Lions offensive
Wouldn't that be
line.
a strength on strength? That'd be fun.
It would be awesome. It'd be absolutely awesome. But
you know who called that about 2 months ago was Charlie Batch.
Hey, shout out Charlie Batch.
Did you guys know that? Eastern Michigan's finest.
Right.
Shout out Wood Nickel.
Shout
See,
out.
Hi,
Batch.
Charlie. Remember, we had some fun there. But all jokes aside, Charlie said that like 2 months ago. He was like, I think people are sleeping on the Steelers. I think it's going to be my 2 former teams.
I mean, same with this guy over here. Spenny had them winning the division or finishing second.
So finishing second, yeah.
Nobody saw them winning that division.
Spenny, Dan Campbell doesn't care about I don't care about the MVP either.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't. But Dan Campbell doesn't. That's more important.
Yeah, let's go to break. We'll come back with that Dan Campbell video. But first, tell us about the pregame show and the Woodward and Maine, Justin.
I can do that because there's nothing more than I like than waking up on Sunday morning with Broder and Terry Foster. That is Woodward and Maine. Wake up with them on every Lions game day for your defending NFC North champions with insights from Detroit media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. That is every Sunday, 8 to 9, Woodward and Maine. It's brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller, Long Drink, and Sabbath Coffee, Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. And then stick around because we have Sean Belizean and Neil Rule with the New Holland Brewing Company Lions pregame show every game day with Neil and Sean. Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon on Woodward Sports, live at Second Best Bar. The latest injury reports, fantasy sits and starts, and inside scoops of the Detroit Lions. Join us every Sunday, home games live at Second Best Bar. Make sure you pull up there. It is the #1 sports pregame show for the Lions on the #1 network, Woodward Sports, and that is also brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller Longer Drink, Sabbath Coffee, Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, and Les Stanford Chevrolet.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Attention, fine people of Heartland, Michigan. Today is the day. From 4 to 8 p.m., Soroki's is having
Today we ride.
their grand opening ceremony. Go out. You could possibly win free pizza for a year, or you could just try some of the best chicken in the state and have the lowest gas prices in the state. It's Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza. And today is their grand opening at 10045 Clyde Road in Heartland, Michigan. So go out and get some Soroki's pizza.
I don't know why. That reminded me.
Excuse me, leading MVP candidates. I doubt it's either guy's focus, but it is a big time award. What do you think a win, a good performance, those things do to help?
I don't know. Who votes on that? Got it. Yeah, I don't know. So, and I guarantee you that's not golf's focus, is winning the MVP. That's icing on the cake. But I know for us, man, if you just focus on the win and what it's going to take to win this game, and whatever comes out of that, the individual accolades will follow. You'll turn around and look back and you realize, all right, this is what's transpired because we've won. So, I'm not worried about it. He's not worried about it. We just got to find a way to win.
Spenny, that read, I don't know why it reminded me of one of those movies where an alien visitor comes in. Fine people of Heartland,
Right.
I bring you Soroki's.
Hey, it's out of this world good. I'll tell you that.
Look at this guy over here.
You see what a pro he is?
Oh, my God. B6 over there. That's Broadcaster 6. You better put respect on my motherfucking
I
dog.
will piggyback on that. Guys, I couldn't agree more with Dan Campbell. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't care. We've gone too far to get wrapped up in minutia of things like that. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it a panel of NFL sports writers? I think it's like 50 different sports writers that vote for the MVP.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not peeing on anybody's parade. If you care, you care. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Justin, I couldn't give two shits.
I couldn't either. And you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. You want football immortality? It's not winning an MVP. It's winning the Lions a Super Bowl. Straight up. Clean and clear.
Helmet sticker right there. Kid just earned a helmet sticker.
If you win the Super Bowl as the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, you have etched yourself as bringing the lovable loser all the way from 3-13 to the grand prize of them all. And I'm getting chills sitting here thinking about it, honestly. I don't think he cares at all. I don't even think Goff cares. I think Goff truly only cares about where he is right now, the city that's embraced him, the team that's embraced him, the organization that's embraced him, everyone that believes in him. He is right now going down a storybook tale of a road where he is going to not be able to show his face around the Metro Detroit area, maybe even all of Michigan, where he will not be recognized on every single street corner, be asking for pictures, autographs. We are talking about a level of stardom in Detroit that we have never seen before. He will be more popular than Miguel Cabrera, more popular than Steve Yzerman, more popular than Calvin Johnson, more popular than Isaiah Thomas. Like, we are talking about something that has never been done in Detroit sports history. This will be so unbelievably special for everybody around the city of Detroit, around the Michigan area, even Lions fans across the world, because our fan base is now global.
Man.
It is truly, truly special, and there's not enough words that I could give Jared Goff to how much he means to me as bringing this team.
He means something to me.
He means something to me. He means something to me, man.
Give me that helmet sticker back.
Jared Goff, man, lead this team from the gutter. I remember we were 0-16, man. But yeah, I mean, Jared Goff deserves all the flowers, and he won't be remembered even if he wins an MVP for the MVP. He'll be remembered for turning around this franchise and turning it into the superpower that we are right now.
I don't care about the window dressing, KG. It means nothing to me. Put the pretty little signs up. Put the pretty lights up. You know what? I want the Super Bowl champion building.
Listen, man, y'all not wrong, but I'm speaking as a fan right now. I don't want to hear that shit, bro. In the words of the great Kendrick Lamar, I deserve it all. Yeah. I want it all.
I deserve it all.
And listen, and you would think somebody like Amon-Ra St. Brown, he doesn't care about Pro Bowls. He doesn't care about, all the preliminary awards. Well, guess what? He does. But at the same time, the ultimate goal is the Super Bowl. So y'all not wrong in the sense that Jared Goff, ultimately, if he wins it, he don't care. If he doesn't win it, he doesn't care. The ultimate goal is to bring that championship home. But I want the Lions to get everything they fucking deserve, because we have been so many years without getting what the hell we deserve that when a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro nod or even an MVP opportunity comes around, I want my team to have it all. And Jared Goff is in that discussion. Make no mistake about it. To me, Josh Allen, yes, he's leading it right now, but this game is going to tell a lot in terms of what that MVP race is going to look like at the end of the year. And if Jared Goff goes out there and plays a damn good game, I want him to get everything, all his flowers, everything he deserves.
100%, KG. He played the system faithfully. You still don't deserve MVP.
Hey.
I deserve it all. If Jared Goff goes out there, if they beat the Buffalo Bills, if he leads the Detroit Lions to 16-1 on the season, he's winning the fucking MVP. I don't care if Josh Allen throws 40 touchdowns and only has 5 interceptions. If Jared Goff continues to play how he is, doesn't have another game like in Houston, beats Josh Allen head-to-head, and the Detroit Lions are the number 1 seed in the NFL, sitting at 16-1, you better believe Jared Goff's going to win MVP, flat out. If Matt Ryan gets it for what he did in Atlanta that year, Jared Goff will get it this year.
Fuck it, you guys won me over. I want
it. There it is.
I want it. I want that too. No, listen, all jokes aside, Justin, like what you said speaks to dudes like me, okay? So in my lifetime, I know you guys can't relate to this, and I'm not trying to rub your sand in the face. I have watched the hometown basketball team win multiple NBA championships. I have watched the hometown hockey team win multiple Stanley Cups. I have watched the hometown baseball team win a World Series. You guys have not. I feel so sorry for you, because you get the same shit that I had to get. People cramming 1968 down my throat when I was a kid made me sick to my stomach. All you guys do is hear about 1984. I'm serious. Lions win a Super Bowl, that's it. Like, after I dance on my grandfather's grave, because it's going to happen.
The Irish jig.
Seriously, he told me I was wasting my time, and I will do the jig on his grave. I'm like, that's it.
I love that every time you say
it's
that.
true though. This is cleared with my aunts. Like my father, rest his soul, has passed, but his remaining daughters are alive, and I've asked each one of them, Aunt, will you get mad at me if I dance on Grandpa's grave? No, I'll be there taking video of it. Okay, cool. But like, I'm done. I'm done. That's it. I don't have anything to bitch about anymore.
I hear you.
Like, I'm done. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious. Well, Spenny, for guys like you and I, we can bitch about that which will never happen, and that's Michigan State winning the Natty in college football. But I've watched the hockey team win too. I've watched the basketball team win too. The Lions, for me, all those horrible memories. Like, I watched the Shannon Sharp play yesterday. I don't know where I saw it. Somebody had the Shannon Sharp play. And if you don't know the Shannon Sharp play, 2 things. Go look it up. Second thing, fuck you. But I watched the Shannon Sharp play, and you do that. You have the twitches. You're like, how the hell did that happen? I'm free. At that point in time, I'm exercised. All that crap that I've had to see, that I've had to endure, 0-16, all of it just melts away. That's my focal point. But if you're going to bring Mr. Kendrick into the equation, Okay, yeah, I want it all. That sounds good to me, too. How about Coach of the Year, too?
Yeah. Why
General
you at it?
Manager of the Year?
Yes.
I want it all.
100%.
Give it all to me. I want it all. Every bit of it.
Defensive Player of the Year, give it to Kirby Joseph. Like,
Okay.
they're the best team in football. They're the most dominant team in football. If you finish 16-1, Executive of the Year, Coach of the Year, Assistant of the Year, MVP. I don't know about Offensive Player of the Year. I think that's either going to be Jamar Chase
It's
or Derrick Henry, or Saquon. Yeah, fuck. But I want it all. They deserve it.
It's all great. It's all good. But at the end of the day, if they don't win a Super Bowl, I couldn't give less of a shit if they
No,
win
of
MVP or
course.
Coach of the
Amen.
Year.
That's the ultimate goal. We
Oh,
all
for
know
sure.
that. But two things can be true.
Two things can be true.
But you know what? In fairness, that is the one thing I think, Justin, everybody was on the same page heading into this year.
Oh, yeah.
The goal was Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Nobody deviated from that.
Yeah.
Like, nobody deviated from that. Okay, this was great. You guys saw, a lot of the guys out there saw your first 2 playoff wins. I doubled the amount that I saw. Doubled it, right? In the span of a week, which is still insane. That was great. I'm always going to remember last year. It is always going to be a wonderful memory, okay? But that memory is going to be surpassed by a mile when, not if, when the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl.
100%.
That's the way it is. And yeah, I hope it's this year. I think it can be this year. If it's next year, so be it. I'll be pissed off for the next year. I mean, isn't that the crazy thing?
Yeah.
Now we're going to have to live, if we're talking about how we're living like the Packer fans lived or whoever lived, can you imagine living with being like devastated that your team only won the NFC and lost on a, God forbid, last-second field goal in the Super Bowl?
Like the regular season don't matter anymore.
Right.
Like we are going to look back at what were the 2024 playoffs. And that's what it's all measured by.
Do you remember it was like, I would say it was early April, or not April, August. We were doing a show, and KG, I said just that, and there were a lot of people in the chat that got pissed at me. I don't care about winning the NFC North.
And it's crazy because we used to dream about regular seasons like this.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Justin, you want to read that super chat?
Like, seriously, if you roll into a playoff season like the Giants did in 2011, literally got in the last game of the year, the last fucking game of the year.
Yeah.
The Cowboys went Cowboys, the Giants beat them, okay? You get in, Lions get in at 9-8, and go on some magical run and win the Super Bowl, who cares?
Yeah.
If that's the goal, then that's the goal. Now, again, much like you said, I want it all. Yeah, I want the North. Yeah, I want home field advantage. Yeah, I want to humiliate a couple teams along the way. But if the ultimate goal is the ultimate goal, I don't care how they get there.
It don't matter how you get there.
Yeah, just
Absolutely.
win the ultimate goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And before we keep going, shout out to Dante151 for the $10 super chat, or $9.99 if you want to be specific.
Thanks, Dante.
I just realized North Carolina is in a bowl game this year. That'll be an appointment viewing just to see Bill Belichick on the sideline of UNC. Let's freaking go. Also, how is he wide open? FTP, FTP, FTP. Shout out
Sterling
Dante.
Sharp.
Yeah.
Let's go to break. We'll come back and we'll talk about something better.
It's new days.
Maybe we talk about Billy Huso potentially being in goal tonight. But first,
please not.
Let me tell you about Mark White, because Mark White will save you to $5,000 of your closing costs when you're looking to buy or sell your home. Make sure you call him first at 248-290-8242 or visit him at markwhitesells.com. Mark White should be your first choice when it comes to buying or selling your home. And let me tell you about Salvation Army. When it comes to the Salvation Army, your donation makes it possible to serve our community's most vulnerable 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. The Salvation Army of Metro Detroit's 2024 Red Kettle Christmas campaign fundraising goal is $7 million. Your contributions will help provide love beyond Christmas to individuals in need of food, shelter, and compassion. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to donate.sagreatlakes.org to donate. It's the Salvation Army. You know your money is going to a good place.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Does your wife own a Sterling Sharp or a Billy Huso jersey? Then you might need KDK Law. Dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. 10-plus years of experience and 24/7 availability. Scan the QR code on the screen or call 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you, and KDK Law will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back.
Can we do something when the Lions win the Super Bowl? Can we do a show where now we can talk about all the bad moments that were just exercise?
Absolutely.
Don't we need to exercise it out of our soul, right?
Yeah, and just go back and laugh at them now.
Yeah, you have to. And we'll play the clips if we can. Spenny, are we legally allowed to do that? Play some clips of like old moments where how did that happen? I don't know if we can.
I don't think we can, because that's going to be the biggest show in the history of Woodward Sports, and it would demonetize us right away.
Yes.
Okay, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
What we do want to do is shout out Vern in the super chat for another $5 dono. Shout out to him. The 17-0 Miami Dolphins had to do on the road to play this. I'm assuming he had to go on the road to play the Steel Curtain Steelers in the AFC Championship due to league rules. Just win.
Isn't that great? Amen to you, my friend.
If you, I saw someone put out a graphic. I don't know who exactly, but shout out to whoever did it. It was like a little slide, positioning slider of where the Lions would fall depending on their wins and losses for the rest of the year. If they only lose one game for the rest of the year, they are 100% the #1 seed in the NFC, and 100%.
I saw that. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what game they lose. If it's only one, you win the North, you're the 1 seed. If you win out, you win the North, you're the 1 seed. So those are the two things. It's just win, and you control your own destiny. If you win every game, or you only lose one game for the rest of the year, you are the #1 seed in the NFC, and you win the NFC North. No matter who your loss is to, if you only lose one game, you're still the 1 seed in the NFL.
Do you guys remember the Sam Gatto play? Please tell me you remember the Sam Gatto play.
No.
Sunday Night Football at Lambeau in the middle of December.
What year?
Look it up. 05, I think.
Okay.
05.
I would have been 3, so no.
Where
Damn.
But anyway, no,
like
look
12.
it up, because I've even had this conversation with Packer fans where something happened in that game, and we never got an explanation for it. He basically fumbled it out of the end zone, illegal passed it out of the end zone, and everybody just acted like it didn't happen.
Wow.
It was one of the strangest.
It's like the Seahawks game where they batted the ball out of the end zone.
Oh my God. See, that one I do remember.
So some of you guys
KJ
out there,
Wright.
tell me,
friend of the show.
I hope somebody in the chat remembers the Sam Gatto game.
Steven Siret said yes, he fumbled in the end zone. Jack Stark said yes, safety, but it didn't happen.
Here's the worst part, okay? Like back in the day, it's like right before Christmas, and a lot of people checked out a Lions season, whether we want to admit it or not. That was a real phenomenon, and it was one of those things. I'm texting my buddies going, can somebody, just for my sanity, explain to me what happened?
Right.
Because I swear to God, on television, they didn't even touch it.
I believe it.
They just let it go.
Because they didn't care.
Like it never happened. And I was going, can somebody please explain to me what I just saw? Packer fans. I remember even talking to Packer fans going, I don't know, I got nothing. Yep. It was just one of those plays. And I said, there is no possible way that these plays don't happen to anybody other than this franchise.
That's a fact.
And so we need to be exercised of that. We all do. We'll have an exorcism show one day. Can we do that, Spenny?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like after the celebration, all right, we are going to pull just a bunch of old clips where we got our hearts broken. And we'll bring Joik in, and Joik can sit there and just say repeatedly over and over, Detroit versus everybody, and it'll be a great day. Justin, a lot of Red Wing fans, and I understand this, are up in arms about Sebi being sent to Grand Rapids. Now, can we break down Sebi's play the other night? I'm not going to write Sebi in as a Vezina Trophy winner. I'm not going to write him in as a Conn Smythe Trophy guy, but I am going to agree with what Dylan Larkin said. And this is, I'll get to what Dylan Larkin said. I don't want to misconstrue what he said and what I'm saying. This is a franchise right now that all of a sudden I got some Blashill vibes. I do. I got some Blashill vibes. They've been a chore to watch. They haven't been fun very often. The fun times are few and far between. I think the way that last season ended, that hangover has passed. You know, as exciting as it was down the stretch, and especially the excitement in those last games against Montreal. Both those games, we knew what the score was and what had to happen. You haven't seen a lot of excitement. And I thought it was great that Dylan Larkin came out and said, you know what, he provided a spark. And quite frankly, to me, the Detroit Red Wings need a spark right now. They need something right now. I don't understand the rationale about sending him down, but here we are having the conversation.
Well, see, Sean, I stand on actually the opposite side of the fence.
Oh,
I
good. I can't wait
completely
to hear
understand the sending Kosa down, and it's because Talbot is going to play tonight, and there's no purpose of having him back up Talbot. I would love for him to be on this team. I would love for him to get consistent playing time, but consistent playing time is not something that I believe is in his cards right now. I think that he is better off going down to GR and playing games. He's not going to play games at the NHL right now, even though what I saw against Buffalo, all right, easy there, KG, is I saw a goalie who's ready. And he proved that in the shootout. And if you're a rookie goalie in a shootout against a team that has some pretty good shootout scorers, and you're going to go out there and you're going to be a wall back there, let up 1 goal on 3 shots, I mean, that's as NHL ready as you could be. And Ville Husso should not be on this roster. I know he came in nice in relief for the first 2 games, but we know who Ville Husso is. Ville Husso is not a good goalie, and he just has no confidence. He let in the goal from the wall. He let in the wide open tip. And you saw Kosa be uncomfortable in the beginning. He let out that first rebound, which also the D didn't pick up their guy. I mean, can't blame it all on Kosa. The D, pretty brutal. But he settled in. He made a lot of saves. And the biggest gripe that people have on him is his lateral quickness and his inability to move side to side. If you get him moving, you can score some goals. I didn't see Buffalo have the ability to do that. I didn't. In the shootout, they moved him side to side. He was able to make saves. Other than that 1 rebound opportunity, he was able to move very laterally, and the breakaway goal he let up, but also those were his first 2-4 shots of the game. I saw a lot of impressive things out of Kosa in that Buffalo game, and if Talbot goes out again or if Lyon goes out again, and you're actually talking about splitting the time, then I would like to see Kosa up, because I don't want to see Ville Husso in the Red Wings net ever again.
Why can't he compete? That would be my response. Why can't he compete? If I looked at any one of these guys right now and I said, this guy's a definitive starter, right? Mm-hmm. And I understand Steve Yzerman's MO. This is again, anybody that tells you they know what Steve Yzerman's going to do is lying. And if you don't believe me, ask Darren McCarty. Do you know why? Because Steve Yzerman doesn't tell people what he's going to do. That's what's made him so good at his job. I know we're waiting for it here, but that's what's made him so good at his job. So you know what you're left to do? You're left to look at tendencies. And you're left to look at, he loves to get that wily veteran who's been around and see if he can wring a little bit out of it. He did it with Dwayne Rollison. They went on a miraculous run back in the day with Tampa. If there was, Justin, to me, if there was somebody right now in the group that you just mentioned, Cam Talbot is by far the bona fide starter. I would agree with you.
Yes, he is the bona fide starter, but Kosa is the bona fide second best goalie on this roster with Lyon out. With Lyon out, with Lyon healthy, there's a conversation to be had. You probably need to see that in practice. But where I think this is leading to ultimately is I think we're going to trade Cam Talbot. I think we are going to trade Cam Talbot to a contender that needs some goaltending help, whether or not that is to finish out their tandem or to be their starting goalie. Because Cam Talbot is playing at a level where he He's a playoff starter.
It's
right
not
now.
sustainable.
I agree with you, but there will be an opportunity to level him to a team that is desperate for goalie help. There are teams that are so desperate for goalie help where he is an answer. Like before Colorado traded for Blackwood, they would have traded for Talbot. There's no way they were going into another playoff run with Grigoriev. He is not good enough. The Oilers have to look at that situation. There are teams that will have to look at that situation around the league. And when that happens, and I hope it does, I expect Costa to be in Detroit as the starting goaltender with Lyon backing him up.
Well, it is going to be interesting because I maintain I'm still one of those people. I think this is like the repeat of what we saw in Tampa, where Sebi is playing the role of Ben Bishop, and I really think that Trey Augustine is going to play the role of Vasilevsky. I do. I mean, people think that highly of Trey Augustine. It's not just my hat. I know you always have to, of course, the Spartan slap, he says something like that. I have watched Trey Augustine be tremendous in the NC2A.
He's so good.
I watched Trey Augustine be tremendous at the international level. And that's something right now to me, I think that sticks out like a sore thumb.
Without the Sparty hat, I will say that Trey Augustine is the truth. He is so good. Every time I watch him play, I don't get it in all watching goalies very often because that's not something that I really like to watch as goalies. But when I actually lock in and I watch someone like Trey Augustine, like he is fun to watch and he is just so smart out there. His IQ, it's off the charts for a college goalie.
I think this team needs a buzz. I do. I think they need a buzz for themselves, as Dylan Larkin said. And I think, quite frankly, I think this fan base needs a little bit of a buzz right now. I do. I think we all know that Coach Lalonde it probably isn't long for this job. Does it happen at the end of the season? Does it happen before the Four Nations? I don't know the answers to that. But to me, it's like, why not get a little bit of a buzz? And I think it would help the boys out in the room as well. And if that's not me talking, I think Dylan Larkin's comments kind of said that this is a situation that I think they know they need a little bit of a buzz right now. And I think Sebi could provide a buzz. I get why to a point, but to me, if I looked at any of these guys and said, by far and away, this guy's the best goaltender, that point would have more water. I don't feel that way.
I yes to both those things. I do. That's the only angle I like is if you're bringing him in to be a spark because this team needs a spark. It's so obvious. And then when your captain comes out and says that to the media, because that's not something that you come out and say like right when you start to realize the issue. I'm sure Dylan Larkin has known this for weeks, but he now has vocalized it in the media because he doesn't know what else to do to help spark this team. And it puts you in a situation where you're like, man, you're in the middle of the season. You probably can't make a trade right now for an asset that's going to be in part of the Yzer plan for the long term. You see the foundations and the future success. You see all of it. It's all obvious out there. You see the path for what, 5 defensemen will be here next year, and it will be a lot better. Like ASP will help you a ton.
Danielson being your 2C.
Being your 2C. Casper, second year of Casper.
Mazer, you can bring up another sniper. Lombardi looks really fucking good too.
Thank you, Spenny. Like you're getting me giddy up here thinking about all these players. There are so many players that are going to help this team. Unfortunately, and I see it on Twitter because shout out to Daniela Bruce. Daniela Bruce was having Twitter fingers today with people in her comments.
People were taking shots at her.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And she's just telling them, you have to wait. It's hockey. You have to wait. You have to be patient. You don't want to hear it, but you have to be patient. This team is being built from the ground up. I could go through right now, and I could hit at an 80% clip and tell you their starting lineup in 2 years. Yeah. Because it is so obvious in the track record of who is going to be on this roster. And it is built like a true championship level roster with power forwards, with scorers, good defensive centers, offensive defensemen to carry the offensive weight on D, 2 trees in the defensive end. Then you're going to bring in 2 free agents. You're going to have Trey Augustine and Costa as your goalies. The blueprint is so obvious if you just take the 2 seconds to go open up Spot Track, go look at the salaries, and then you look a little bit into the prospects. It doesn't take a lot of time. You see the blueprint. The blueprint is there. I promise you. I'll put it on wax.
Okay.
The Red Wings in 2 years will be a powerhouse. Over 100 points. And if they are not...
Do you know what the problem is? Can I tell you what the problem is? Montreal might be 2.
I mean, that's fine.
Buffalo might be 2.
Yeah.
Buffalo's good.
Ottawa might be 2.
Man.
Look at that's the big problem in the Atlantic
That is
Division
the big
right now.
problem, but-
there are 4 teams that are in a very close position where all of them can say, look at what we have.
Yeah.
That's the problem, I think, right now with the Red Wings. I really do.
Man.
And I'm not arguing with what you're saying, okay? I want you to know that. But you know what? I could have this conversation right now at Le Cage Sport in Montreal. I could have this conversation at the Anchor Bar in Buffalo about all the cute little Sabre prospects that we've heard about for a decade now. I could be skating on the Rideau Canal in Ottawa right now, like half erect at all the wonderful prospects that we have, right?
Man.
I think that's the problem in this division right now.
Justin,
I really do.
You may be right. I want to hear Spinny get his shit off on Husso though.
Yeah,
that's what we all came to see.
I respect the whole thing. I respect what they're talking about Kosa and not wanting to start the whole rookie contract deal yet early, even though you're just going to start it next year right away. But if Ville Husso takes a start in net, if Ville Husso gets a start in net for the rest of the year, you're not serious and you don't want to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs anyway, but you will not win games in the NHL with that defensive core and Ville Husso in net. He lets in soft goals, and you have 4 guys who aren't NHL defensemen in front of him. So if you're saying right now that Ville Husso is the backup going forward, you're saying the season is over and we're not making the playoffs. That's what you're telling me, Steve Yzerman. Yeah, I'm looking at you because it's your choice. It's your decision. If you want to tell that big-nosed doofus, hey, keep this fucking kid up there and get him starts, he's going to do it. So if I see Ville Husso in that one more game for the rest of the year, the Red Wings are waving the white flag and they are washing the season. He cannot start with this defensive core, and you cannot expect to win games if that is the choice.
I get the frustration, and this is what I would tell Daniela Bruce or anybody else. I get the frustration. I've said it. I talked to 2 general managers in the National Hockey League, not named Steve Yzerman, that said fan bases like Detroit don't understand what goes into a rebuild. Now, these are general managers of other teams in the National Hockey League, okay? It takes 5 years. Well, here's the problem. We're over 5 years in now. I understand the frustration. I get it. The last thing in the world you want to hear, ask Detroit Lion fans, okay, is be patient. You don't want to hear it anymore.
Any Detroit franchise,
right? You don't want to hear it anymore. So I understand the frustration, but Justin, this is where I'll piggyback on what there's a lot to like about what's still in the system. There's a lot to like about what's in the system. So you're gonna have to be patient, but that doesn't mean you don't have a right to bitch right now.
And Spenny, the contract thing with Kosa is it doesn't matter. He's not 18 or 19, so the entry level already is what it is. Like, he's gonna have to sign a new contract next year no matter what. So there is no contractual issues with bringing him up right now. And I do agree. I think if they want to be competitive, then Ville Husso should never touch the net again. And any time that Ville Husso should be in net, Kosa should be called up, and he should be the one started.
Did we blow off a whole commercial break? I think we
could just do Feldman and then sign off.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Neil will be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Justin, great job today.
Thank you.
We gave you a helmet sticker. We did. Congrats. Is that your first helmet sticker? You have to have a punch, right?
I've never really been given a helmet sticker.
Well, you got a helmet sticker now.
I got one today.
KG, love you. Always a pleasure. Spenny, love you. We'll do it again tomorrow. Neil will be in. Most importantly, thank you guys for tapping in. Stick around. Ermanni and Edwards are coming up. But first, somebody's going to tell you about Feldman, not named Sean.
Justin, tell us about Feldman and then sign us off.
I got you. Feldman Chevrolet. I drove back there on my way home from Kalamazoo yesterday, and it is the #1 Chevy dealer in Detroit with 18 locations. There's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide the best, convenient, first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest to you and catch Woodward Sports Network live from Feldman every other Monday And this has been Big D Energy. This is Justice Satawa signing off. Ha ha! See you tomorrow, Neil.